հյուրն է Observer Research Foundation հնդկական առաջատար ուղեղային կենտրոնի նախագահ Samir Sarանը. Welcome to Armenia, Mr. Saran. Thanks for accepting the interview request. Armenia and India share, as well as our two peoples, share a long history of amicable ties and cultural exchange. As far as I am aware, this is your first visit to Armenia. Have you already noticed any commonalities? Can our cultural ties help to develop a new modern type of relationship between our countries?
You know, I'm here for the first time, and thank you for having me on the show. For me, what was remarkable about my visit this time was the similarity. I see a community-based society. I see celebrations. I see families having dinners together. I see a sense of community in this country which is deeply similar to where I come from India. Very similar social norms and social values as well. Deeply celebratory people. We like to celebrate the moment, irrespective of what's happening around us. And of course, a strong sense of our own culture, religion, identity as well. So that's very similar traits across India and Armenia. But what is even more striking to me is the fact that the energy you see in India today, which is that we want to build a nation, we are finally at that moment when we can shape our future, when we are going to invest in a better tomorrow. You see a certain energy in India which is also visible in Armenia. And I asked my colleagues and friends here why, and they said because this is the time when Armenia is rediscovering its modern identity post the revolution and post these years. Armenia is also scripting its own sense of space in the world and place in the world. And I think this is the right time for us, old friends, to rediscover each other and build a modern relationship.
You are the president of Observer Research Foundation that holds the annual Retina Dialogue in New Delhi, attended by renowned dignitaries, diplomats and experts. We have noticed already Armenia's active participation in the forum with delegations headed by our Foreign Affairs Minister, Labor and Social Affairs Minister, also the representatives of military and think tanks. How do you see the role of think tanks at the age of fractured and conflict-stricken international system?
They're vital. You know, when formal institutions are not being able to perform, when they are divided by politics, when they are polarized by ideology, we will have to find other means of engagement. People will have to find new ways of talking to each other, of finding areas where they can collaborate, finding issues that they must cooperate on, building alliances, partnerships, even loose quasi-arrangements that can respond to the challenges and opportunities that abound today. There are plenty of them, both challenges and opportunities. So for us, it is vital as a think tank out of India, as India grows, as India builds its own identity and place in the world, its role in the world, that we deepen our engagement with all parts of the society, from all parts of the world. India at $4 trillion is engaging robustly with literally the entire world. At $10 trillion, it will be much deeper engagement. And so our requirement of knowing everyone and knowing every place and every culture and every society is going to become important. And governments are not going to do it by themselves. We will have to have civil society and think tanks and academic institutions play a role. Similarly, when we have to build coalitions to respond to certain challenges, governments who don't talk to each other will find it impossible. We'll again have to find other institutions to do it. So we'll require think tanks and academia to step in again. I think in this deeply divided world, the role of think tanks and academia is more important than ever. I call it perhaps the most important decade for think tanks and research institutions.
India is a fast-growing economy and it is perceived as an emerging player on the global stage. How would be the role, the nature of India's role in the new world order, and how do Indians perceive themselves in this sense?
Look, I think we can take a few lessons from the recent past to try and assess what kind of a big power would India be, what would India's role be in the world. I think one of the examples you can take is from its G20 presidency. In the G20 presidency, India proposed the ethic of the grouping to be Vasudeva Kutumbakam, which means the world is one family. That was the essence of the Indian presidency, that we are all one family. So whatever we decide as G20 nations has to actually be in consonance with the ethic that the whole world has to be considered before any decisions are made. So the Indian Prime Minister hosted a summit of 125 leaders from the global south, had conversations with them, and only after that conversation did he talk to his counterparts at the G20. Once the G20 presidency ended with the Delhi summit, he again called back the leaders of the 125 countries and briefed them on the progress, on what they had discussed in the beginning and where they have reached towards the end, what are they going to be doing in the days ahead. So I think global partnerships with an accent on the development requirements of the global south is certainly one key Indian priority as it emerges in the world stage. And it will continue to push for the agenda that allows development to reach everyone. Energy security for all, jobs and prosperity for each of us. And of course, in India's presidency and thereafter in its own parliament, it has decided definitively to move towards a women-led development model, a women-led growth model, where we are not looking at just the bare minimum efforts, but actually unleashing the entrepreneurship and leadership of women to lead the world and all of us. And that is the change that India is proposing. The second example would be its technology and digital prowess. We have created solutions that allow financial inclusion at scale, from digital banking to digital payments to digital investments to digital insurances. India is a tech-enabled, tech-powered nation. And India is making this available to everyone. We have opened up the intellectual, we have an open architecture which allows anyone from countries in Africa to Asia to other parts of the world to embrace these solutions, make them and change them to meet their own requirements and utilize them. We are not building businesses on the solutions, we are building entrepreneurship on access. So we are giving everyone technology access that allows businesses to thrive.
And in this context, can we consider the increasing interest from the Indian side towards South Caucasus?
Many reasons why we should be interested in South Caucasus. The most important one being because we were always connected as people for a very long time, and it's good to rediscover each other, like I mentioned in the very beginning. But on a 21st century, more contemporary basis, I think there are 3 or 4 important aspects that allow and that drive this relationship. The first, of course, is India's determination to be connected to the largest parts of Eurasia and Europe. And we have been working with partners in Iran, we've been working with Russia, now we are working under the IMEC arrangement with Europe and America and Middle East. India is going to be investing in building robust and resilient connectivity to engage with its partners in Central Asia, in Middle East, in Europe, and of course in Eurasia. And for that, South Caucasus are an essential part of that equation. I was just flying into your country from Dubai yesterday, and for nearly 2 hours I was flying over Iran for 1.5 hours, 40 minutes. Now India is already building connectivity with Iran, and it's logical to see that connectivity to be extended into Armenia, Georgia, and to serve this part of the world as well. So I think connectivity is big. Trade and commerce and economics will always define any future architecture, and I think we are there. Then of course you have the innovation and digital societies that can really define our future partnerships. Armenia is a very strong innovation economy. It is for its population numbers, the number of international solutions its diaspora has produced are remarkable. So Armenia and its diaspora can be key partners to India's digital future. We have the size and the population numbers. We have the innovation hubs like Bangalore, like Hyderabad, like Delhi and its surroundings, like Bombay. And you guys have the innovation talent. Now combine these two, innovation talent, innovation hubs and size of the market, and you can have a winning combination. So I think Armenia-India partnership in digital is again going to be extremely important. And finally, I think we also have to start thinking about the food security, climate, and energy transitions. And here again, there is a lot of conversations that we can have together. India has a remarkable story of solar energy to share. Armenia is thinking of this sector very seriously, for example. Nuclear is another area. You have a nuclear plant which is going to be in transition soon. So I think between energy, climate, digital and technology and connectivity, we have three very important and immediate needs to engage with South Caucasus, especially Armenia.
Armenia is currently undergoing a period of societal transformation and reform while dealing with external security threats and aggression. What is your assessment of this transformation, Mr. Saran?
Look, I think it's happening and it is palpable. You can sense it. You can sense that this is a society in transition. It is a society that is defining itself in its own vocabulary, through its own grammar, and it is freeing itself from the shackles of the past. Something that most of us have had to do in our own journeys. This is Armenia's decade of self-discovery in some ways. Now, of course, it is complicated by the fact that you have a neighborhood that is not very conducive to domestic stability. You have a disruptive actor or disruptive actions on the border. And we will have to, of course, strengthen and support the region to find a durable and lasting peace. And I think the world community must be invested in this. It cannot be ignored. This particular challenge should not be ignored. But all in all, I think despite the challenges on the border and the requirement for the world to find a just and lasting solution, irrespective, I think Armenia is on its way. Armenia cannot be denied. It will define itself for the future. It will define its new social and national identity. It will create economic and political decisions that suit its own needs and people. And I think this is an exciting time to be partnering with Armenia.
And there has been a tremendous upward trend in the relations between Armenia and India over the past few years. There are areas where we can notice increasing exchange, cooperation and growing ties. What do you think both sides can do to bring our countries closer in terms of business and trade, as well as scientific cooperation? And if there are any areas where we can anticipate any further progress, Mr. Saran?
Look, I think first we should be seriously thinking about a direct flight between Armenia and India. We should have a Delhi-Yerevan flight, and we should have it every day. And we should make sure that the number of tourists that are going around in your neighborhood from India come to Armenia. Armenia is a place to visit. I am convinced that we should be promoting Armenia as a destination for our tourists. In fact, yesterday I was at a hotel and I saw a big fat Indian wedding being planned in Armenia. It should be a wedding destination, it should be a tourist destination, it should be a student destination, which I'm told it is increasingly becoming. The numbers are growing of our students coming here. But most importantly, it is a natural business partner for India in many sectors, biosciences and pharma being one of them, like I mentioned, technology and innovation being another one of them, defense security and defense sector, again, something that we could really be working on. Armenia has the advantages of the knowledge it has gained from the Soviet era and the nimbleness of a modern Western style society that can move fast and leverage the enterprise of its individuals. So you have best of both the worlds. And I think we should be literally invested in each other now, and we should, like I said, make sure that connection is easy, information is easy, and conversations are easy between our people.
And as for you, what should become the formula for realizing the fullest potential of bilateral relations between Armenia and India?
For me, we have to be engaged more deeply in each other's spaces where ideas are made. Nations are built on ideas, not on bricks and mortar. We should be part of each other's ideas-making spaces. Think tanks like ours should be in your country. Think tanks from your country should be in my country. We have to be ideating for our future together. That is the best way of of working together is by building a future together. You should become co-architects and co-owners of the future you shape. So ideas matter, and I'm here because I want to make Armenia a big hub of where we produce ideas along with our partners in this lovely country.
Mr. Saran, you give lectures in Yerevan. What are their main messages?
Main message is that this is the decade where our relationship will be defined. Let's make it ambitious, let's make it rich, and let's make it relevant not only for the two of us, but for the world. Together we can find solutions for the world. We can find solutions that are useful and accessible to many people, both in our regions but also around the world. That's the first message. Let's work together for the world. Let's respond to the challenges and the crises we are confronting today by deepening our engagement and deepening our understanding of both our individual societies but also of those who we need to partner with. And the third and most importantly is that we must rediscover each other as people. We have forgotten our old ties. We now read about it in storybooks, in poetry, in art that I saw in your museum. They tell us the story of our old ties. It is time that we build a 21st century relationship. So time for India and Armenia, it is time for a 21st century modern day relationship which is boundless and has plentiful opportunities for all.
Thanks for the interview, Mr. Saran.
Thank you so much.
Այսօր հյուրընկալել էինք Observer Research Foundation հնդկական առաջատար ուղեղային կենտրոնի նախագահ Samir Saranին հաջողություն։